All right, welcome to this video of the 10,000 Game Masters course. As you can see, my notes have been leveling up as we go through the videos, and that's a good thing. Today, we're going to be fleshing out the villain, all right? And so far, what we've done is we've defined the status quo. It's a location called Hairavatam, and we have done a bunch of different things to stabilize it. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to be picking one of those and using that as the crux of our adventure, and using that idea that we pick, we are going to be fleshing out the villain and their plan. All right. And later videos are going to be covering all of them. Now, before we go in, I want to be clarifying a couple of things. The idea behind this thing, the reason why we're fleshing out the villain and we're trying to be specifying what is their, what are they doing, why are they doing, how are they going about it, is so that we have some sort of a structure in the background. And this sort of planning really helps us as game masters to play to find out what happens, for us to react as that scenario that we're building to whatever the players are doing, right? So we don't have like a 1:1 mapping for the players' actions and how to respond. We will just think logically at the time of running the game and say, okay, you know what, this happened, so then logically this is what's going to happen, right? So that's what we're trying to do in this step. And because we're doing this, there's this inherent logic, right? So players' actions, even if they're doing something that you don't expect, we can react in a logical way to that situation. Okay, it's as simple as that. There is a villain template, okay, that I have defined that we will look at. But before that, let's go back to what we had done in the previous video and pick out a crux for that adventure, right? And there are 25 different ones. And today is the 11th, so let's take the 11th one. Flesh golems are gaining some semblance of independent thought. I don't like that as much. I do like the concept of necromancers. Maybe we could tie that in with this as well. Or maybe the police department's trying something. That's okay, but I'm trying to create something for like a level 3 adventure, right? So I don't want something like too intense, but a flesh golem would make for a nice little enemy. I am going to be taking number 11, as we said. All right, let's go with it. Flesh golems are gaining some semblance of independent thought, or maybe they're acting of their own accord. Okay, so I'm just going to paste that over here, right? And that is the that's what our adventure is about. Okay, so now we need a villain to flesh out. So we're going to be giving them a name, we're going to be giving them an appearance, archetype, or a class. These are just mental shortcuts so that we can think about what is the kind of actions that they might default to. For example, a bard would respond differently than a ranger, and I think a ranger would make for a very cool enemy. I'm very curious to see how that goes. All right. A marsh ranger. Oh, damn, that sounds good. What do they want? Why do they want it? How do they plan to get it? So this talks about motivation. This is the actual goal. This is the plan, their allies and minions, right? Because just one villain is okay, but when you have more and more people supporting, it adds a little bit more flavor, a little bit more meat to this adventure. So we totally want to have that. Locations that are important to them, like in our case, maybe the Marsh Ranger is doing something to flesh golems. Maybe they found a shrine somewhere in the forest. There's no forest here. There's only marshes. Right? A marshy forest, maybe that's the thing. Right? So maybe they have a lair, maybe they have a HQ, maybe they have a signature move and an escape plan. All right. So let's start fleshing that out. And I'm just going to copy all of this and put this again. And I'm going to come back to the name later, but I do know the archetype is like a marsh ranger, right? So someone who is like, I'm envisioning like swamps and muddy grounds and a lot of keecherd and bugs, and maybe they know some hedge magic, that sort of a thing. And so I'm going to add that in as well. Minor magic user, gets nature magic. So maybe they're like a druid, right? Sort of a thing. Maybe. Let's see. Appearance. I already have like a vision of this person, again, heavily inspired by the witch doctor in Diablo 3. So I'm going to say lean and feral appearance. They're very taciturn, right? What kind of an animal would be there in marshes? I honestly have no idea, but I'm going to say they have I don't know, like squirrels, right? Pet squirrel. Snakes are there. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna put mongoose, pet mongoose, because cobras and mongoose are a thing that I learned as a child. They got face paint. I definitely want. I'm trying to incorporate elements of voodoo as well. They have a lot of like necklaces with bone and teeth. Bone apple teeth is a thing. In case if you watch Critical Role, I don't. I just got that from the internets. All right, we need a name. I obviously have a doc full of names, and Richan. I like Richan. Ugan Mbodu. Mbodu is very African. I don't want to do that. Vengai. Varunga. What was that thing we got? I think Richan, right? So Richan is good. It's a name. We're going to go with Richan. Okay. All right. What do they want? Why do they want it? How do they plan it? So as you see, these things that we've done, right? The first thing is like the basic physical appearance and, behavior sort of thing. And I'm going to call them, they're chaotic, neutral, right? But maybe they're representing like nature and something like that. So what do they want? Well, we know that the problem is that, well, what's happening is flesh golems are gaining some semblance of independent thought. Maybe they believe that flesh golems, okay, I'm just going to put down a bunch of ideas and then I'm going to crash them out, okay? What do they want? Stop flesh golems, right? So usually when you're doing stuff like this, right, you want to do verb, noun, object, usage, whatever, right? So that, you have like clarity about who's doing what. Stop, right? So verb, noun, being used as police. No, you know what? Just stop that, this thing, okay? What else could they want? Well, maybe it's not like a direct thing. Maybe they're doing this because the vats that were there, they are they're releasing some sort of poisonous effluence. Poisonous effluence, effluent into the river. So what do they want? They want that, right? They want to save the river source, right? Or maybe they want a war with war between the witches and the marsh wizards, right? So I got that. I like that, but I'm not a big fan of this. So this is anyway like the basic thing that we have, right? So maybe this from being polluted by the process of making flesh golems. Okay. Now, usually when I'm saying like, what do they want, right? So let's take that. Okay. So we have the original thing, which is, this is what's happening, right? They're gaining some semblance of independent thought. Why are they doing this, right? So let's take a look. Why would Richan, right? Richan becomes very Japanese. I don't want to do that. I'm going to go to Richam. I know my players, and they will definitely Richan. They'll go into that. All right. Why do they want to? Okay, so they want to stop this, right? So they want to stop flesh golems from being made. Why do they want it? They want to save the river from pollution. Okay. Why do they want that? Now here, see, every time I'm asking why, it's like going deeper and deeper, right? And I found that if you have like more layers, like more times you're asking why, more flavorful you can make the story, right? So when, let's say your PCs go talk to NPC A, they will, talk about, oh, the flesh golem making process and the vats, it's, it hurts my eyes anytime I go near it. It's like so acidic and whatnot. And then they're like, huh, okay. And then they go to somebody else and then they're like, oh, I'm blind. I can't see anything. But, the kids were playing in the slope, that goes into the river, and they have like a sledging contest there. And then maybe one of the kids got like lesions or something. So the idea is that, you can show what's happening without actually telling that, oh, this is what's happening. And every time you're going deeper, gives you another angle to describe the situation. Okay. Now, but let's come back to Reachum. Why does Reachum want to save the river from pollution? Now it's a question, right? Do I want them to be a good guy or a bad guy? Well, I could say that Reacham, suddenly she just became a female in my head. Yeah, she's got a pet mongoose too. I think that's going to be pretty dope. Okay, Reacham wants to, well, I mean, obviously she wants to save the river, sure, but maybe why does she want to save the river? Maybe that's just a secondary thing, right? Because if the river dies out, people will go to another source of water, and some crime will be discovered. Okay, that's dark, but that's also going down like multiple levels, right? Maybe this could be like this thing, right? Another this thing that's happening, which is there's another plot that's happening, and this is okay. This is okay, but again, I don't want to make it like too big either, in the sense that I don't want to have like too much of divergence. So maybe you can just save it as if river dies out, people go to another source. No, I'm going to say if river dies out, magic will fade from the land. No. We got something cool. Nature of magic will change. Why? Because magic comes from the earth. Super. So we got like a nice little thing that's going on. So that's pretty cool. How do they plan to get it, right? So they want to stop this, right? So how are they doing this? Well, one of the things that they've done is reprogrammed the flesh golems as independent constructs, right? So obviously she's done that, right? And what does she hope to get from this? Because she's done this, hopes that this bug will force the witches who are making the flesh golems, to reconsider. And this will give time for the land to heal, right? So that's what she's okay. But how does she manage to do this? All right. So we want to make sure that we can think of the plan, right? So we've already established it, in an alternate version, that there is a alternate water source, springs. I like springs, right? But springs are not enough for the creeks. Yeah, why not? Maybe there's an underground lake, right? How do they plan to get it? They discovered a subterranean lake in the marshes, and found an old idol, discovered a new magic source called deity or idol. Snake. New magic snake idol. I love snake and snakes. Started a small cult of other marsh rangers who will protect the land. So this is a shifting of allegiances from the town of Hairavatham to the land itself. All right, I like that. And then used magical unguents, because I like saying that word, to paint flesh golems with a blow dart, like paintball, right? They just shoot it, and then over time, this leads to the magic seeping into the flesh golem, and boom, right? So we reprogrammed it, and then this is how they're hoping to, this will give time for the land to heal. What else? And they're also hoping that they can find alternates, like voodoo vacuum cleaners. No, like voodoo. What do you? No, we got like undead workforce. Okay, we got that. All right. So who are the allies? We don't want to have too many NPCs here because that could make a bit of a challenge, but we can say 3 to 4 marsh rangers. Yeah, we want that. Pet mongoose. I like the name Kicha. All right. Okay. What else do we want? We obviously have like the snake idol, right? So snake deity demigod. I like demigod. I don't want to go all the way up to gods just yet. So snake demigod. Veerapambu. We got that. And they would need snake demigod. What is that thing called? It's not an avatar, right? A hero, champion, instance, basically. I don't know. Like basically, this demigod doesn't appear. It's just the idol. So, snake demigod, living statue, Veerapambu. And then we're going to say there are awakened trees and plants as well, which support them. Okay. Which locations are important? So we have the subterranean lake, right? That is important to them. And then obviously they'll need a shed to make the magic blow dart ammo, right? Or the unguent, right? We definitely want that. The flesh vats, I think that's what we had called them, right? I'll just go back all the way to the top because that's where we had defined. Oops, this is still step 1. All right. What was the thing we'd called it? I think it was here. No, places to avoid. Golem vats at the flesh wall commune, right? So let's call that golem vats. Flesh golem vats are important. And then what else would be, right? So of course the Taina of Hairavatam, right? This is important because this is their home base. This is a place where they're doing some stuff. This is where they're affecting the flesh golems, right? They're the place where they're doing some sabotage. Ooh, maybe we should and sabotage the golem vats. So you can see like some of the process will involve a bit of back and forth as well. Flesh golem vats are there, and then flesh golem patrol routes, because that's when they target them, right? Oh, maybe they use the awakened trees and plants to deliver this as well. That'll be pretty dope. Okay, super. Signature move, right? They can have a couple. This makes combat a lot more flavorful. So we can have summon plants to their aid, rain of spectral snakes, right? Because that's pretty dope. Traps, hidden traps and decoys. Okay, so maybe they have these. And then the other one could be like, what is that thing called, man? Hiding in the trees and sniping with a blow dart. I think that's pretty cool. Escape plan. What is their escape plan? All right. So if something bad happens, like they're not able to, do whatever that they're trying to do, they will be trying to do something else, right? So I think retreat to the lake, to the underground. I think we call this subterranean lake. Get more blessings and figure out other ways to harm the flesh golem process. So we have obviously sabotage the vats, steal the ingredients for making flesh golems, right? Or maybe they might even try sending visions to everyone in Hairavatam from the snake demigod. Maybe that's another thing. So depending on, what is it that they want, they can probably try something like this. Oh yeah, harm the witches, right? So this is it. Now we've figured out that Reacham is the one who's doing this, and she's doing this because, she wants to stop this, because she wants to save the river, because magic comes from the earth. She wants to heal the earth. And this is the process, right? So when the PCs are introduced to the adventure, right, what's probably going to be happening is this step, where the reprogramming of the flesh golems as independent constructs, this has happened. And that means that all the stuff before this has already happened. And as dungeon masters, as game masters, we can use this in our lore. We can drop these as clues when players are talking to NPCs and whatnot, all right? And we could say that maybe this, like if the players are just dilly-dallying and they're not taking any more actions, then this will be the next step that happens, right? It's our call, right? And this motivation, this is also something that we can introduce to our players through NPCs, right? Maybe there are now factions in town which are okay with no flesh golems around, but having clean water. Maybe one of the 3 interesting NPCs talks about how the land needs to heal, whatever, right? As you can see, we have a bunch of places fleshed out in their locations. We got the motives. We got like some ideas for combat and random encounters as well. And we have an escape plan in case the PCs manage to stop. All right. So that was this step. That is where we've taken the villain and we have fleshed them out. All right. The next step, we're going to be looking at the PCs and we're going to be seeing how we can flesh out their goal and figure out how to shape the adventure around this villain and the location that we built. Okay. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.